What's up, guys? How are you doing? I am doing good. I hope everyone is doing great. Had a blessed day. Just gonna go right into the video. Just want to show you the clip of the day. Clip of the day. Also, I'm wearing Detroit today. I'm not from Detroit. If you've been on my channel, thank you. You are humbly appreciated. I wear all type of t-shirts all the time. T-shirts are my thing. I like them. They're comfortable, and I have a lot of them. So that's kind of my thing. Is clip of the day and my t-shirt. So hope you guys have been good, blessed, productive. Just want to give my sentiments a little bit. I did have the time to actually sit down and watch the Juice WRLD documentary. First and foremost, I want to say I was a fan of his music for sure, but I became a bigger fan of the person once I saw the documentary. I know I'm behind, but I have been busy in my own life in the past few years, post pandemic, and unfortunately he passed in, I think, 21 or 22, I'm not sure. Anyway, but he became unalived at a time where we were all dealing with pandemic stressors and things like that. So I didn't get a chance to watch his documentary until recently, and I had a few things to say about it. I'd first like to say that I really appreciated the human being that this young man was. Just his entire coming of age story, from being from Chicago, the way that he lived his life, made his music, made his art, and just the kind of hard work and that work ethic that it took for him to get where he finally got himself musically, was just so extremely admirable. And I think that one thing about Juice WRLD was he was very, very similar to many, many people who may not have been the most popular kid, who might not have been the prettiest or most handsome, or whatever people want to call those labels of beauty standards, which I have my own and I don't fall into those things. I hope you all don't either. Go back and watch one of my videos about no makeup. But I just really feel like he didn't fit the mold of society, and for those reasons he kind of used all his intellectual and artistic talent to provide something for us, a gift of music and artistry, and something that I think so many people could relate to. And he just made that easy. It came very naturally and organic for him, the talent, the flowing, the no writing necessary for his lyrics to his music. It all was off the top of the head, and he refused to do it any other way. I think he was a phenomenal performer. As a stage performer myself, from childhood all the way up to adulthood, I definitely am a fine tuner. I'm a coach as well, a dance coach. I see things a little bit differently, and I think he just had an amazing energy, consistency with his crowd. It was, I think, very theatrical when he performed live for his fans, obviously by the masses, 70, 80,000 fans screaming, but steadily and consistently he was giving it his all, and the fans appreciated and loved it. And I really think that's all you can ask for, especially out of a young man who's 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So I just wanted to say that first and foremost, fan of the art, fan of the music, but most importantly, a fan of the person that I saw. I can't speak for him. I don't know him directly. I wasn't fortunate enough to meet him, but as many of us were not. But from what I can see, sorry, what I can see and what's depicted on the documentary, and amongst so many, many others who have made their comments and explained the kind of person he was, who knew him. He just seemed like a really good human being and somebody that we could really all stand behind because of the person that he was and not the disease he was going through, which I now want to speak on that topic. He was obviously Juice WRLD, Gerard Higgins, was obviously an addict of different things. Predominantly, it looked like in the documentary Percocet pills. And drinking lean. So those things were hard to see, just because he really was on, I think, this just the fast track. I think we all knew the fast track of superstardom, and that being an addict, especially to the degree, really any degree, on his successful climb that he was on, it was just very sad to see that it was just a constant thing, just like you would see with any addict, a very constant treadmill or hamster wheel of just trying to keep up with the addiction and the need and the sickness. Addiction, need, sickness. I've never been an addict to anything. I have had addicts in my family as well as alcoholics, so it's always hard to see people that you admire or love or whatever capacity in your life plagued with a disease that they cannot handle and are trying to facilitate that the best way that they can in their life. My whole heart goes to that because I have seen that within my own family. So it's just a very difficult topic of addiction. But my heart, really extends to his mother, his family, for learning the amount of grief he was in, he was living through, he was living with. I think everybody hears music, and hears lyrics that were fans of him, of course, because his words really resonated with so many millions of people around the world. But I think that it's a different thing artistically recording art lyrically, and then there's another side of things where it's like, this is really the person that he was. He was stating that he wanted to be unalived. He was stating that he no longer wanted to be alive. Those types of things in his music and his art form. And I don't think enough people took that seriously, because in there's also mental health issues that should have been addressed. And I think from many different aspects, and we weren't there, we don't know, but many different aspects could have came in to help that, just to assist in his mental state and health. That would have been nice to see, just on standby, just a part of his team, because obviously he was writing very heavy lyrics, and I don't see how it would hurt to have someone that you know and trust on your team to be able to be at your will, at your liberty as much as possible, just to make sure this train is staying on the right track, the right course, and that where you're at in your mind isn't taking over your being from your art, if that makes any sense. So just so many prayers for that was heavy enough. Now for my other opinions, I see a lot of interviews and stuff now. Obviously, it's been a few years since the passing of Juice WRLD. I see a lot of things now that are interesting, to say the least. One starting with the significant other of Juice WRLD. I believe her name is Lottie, Ali Lottie, a name that was given to her by Juice WRLD. Ali Lottie. Um, I'll just say not too much on her, because she wasn't the essence or, excuse me, end all be all of Juice World. She really had just come into the picture the last year and a half to ish year, before his unaliveness. And um, to me, what it kind of remakes itself, um, in my opinion, it kind of reminds me of a Courtney Love, Kurt Cobain situation. I recall, I'm not that old, but like just looking at the headlines and documentaries and interviews and things like that of the relationship between Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, was kind of a similar vibe of what's going on with Juice World and his ex-fiance, Miss Lottie. So what I see, there are many similarities in that this is a woman that a lot of people are judging, making a lot of, I think, kind of really like cemented opinions about her. Understandable, because the facts are the facts. She has moved in a very interesting way since his unaliveness a few years ago. Everything from her OF page. I will not go into detail about that on my channel. There is no disrespect to the OF community. It is just not something that the A-Dot show wants to go into or be a part of. The selling of his personal items, the new relationship that she is in with a young man as young as 18 years old, just a lot of the ways that she's moving, and the fact that she is 30 years old. The way that she's moving after the passing of her alleged fiance is, to me, a bit out of touch. And being that he was such a young legend and passed as such a young man, it just kind of doesn't sit right with my spirit that she moved on. So fine that you moved on, understood. But the way that she did it, the way that she moved with it, with like no class and no like consciousness about, the soul and the person and the respect of that human not being here, to say, hey, that's wrong, that's right, this makes me happy, this doesn't. That person's no longer here to kind of stand up for his own ground. So I'll just say that the way it's portrayed in the documentary, they obviously really cared for each other. There's not much that anyone can do about that. It was the same situation with Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. From what I understand from that relationship, she was kind of a groupie, just moving about band to band around the nation, trying to do her own thing, and finally scored such a mega superstar as Kurt Cobain as her significant other, and also the father of their child, his one child he had. So the way that people move with relationships, whether we agree or not, I know there's a lot out there about Miss Lottie. I would like to say in her defense, she is obviously, from what we can see, going through her own demons, going through her own addiction issues. She obviously was taking part with him in the documentary a lot of times, we saw. So I can also have a lot of sympathy and empathy for that. She's going to have to move through that, I think, first, before anything else can be concrete about her, or any opinion that we can make about her. I just don't think is really credible until Miss Lottie, becomes, a clean and sober, healthy, living human being. And that may take 2 days, it may take 20 years, but I think that it will always be in history known as what she was and who she was to a young legend who left us way too soon due to his own demons. And I don't think it's fair to judge her because she's going through her own battles, and I don't think it's fair to judge him because he was already going through his. I will just say that, you know, the timing of them being together, that's just how it worked out, and that's who he chose, and that's who she chose. And yeah, it definitely seemed like a very codependent relationship. So the way she's moving now, we can't judge that. That's for something else to judge, but not us. So that's what I feel about Miss Lottie. I really hope that she can turn her life around and not just become the widow that we all think that she should be, because we all love Juice WRLD and we were a fan of his art. But just as a human, as a woman, to live the life that she deserves to live. We all deserve to live healthy, free, spirited, happy, abundant. And, you know, from what I can see since his passing, there's been a lot of facade of that with her living the way she's living. But it can't be a reality until you start to work on this here. So, also I'd like to say it does seem like predatory behavior. She is now dating another 18-year-old. She seems to date very young to be a woman at 30 years old. That is extremely disturbing for me to assess, because I am at or around her age, and there to me is no reason, no real reason to date that far of an age gap. There is such a long stretch of growth that needs to happen between like 18 to like 24, 25. I do a lot of mentoring for young adults, and that's such a pivotal time of like growth, acceptance. So many things go on with yourself as a young adult. You're still kind of in production. You're not a complete package yet. You're still developing. And I think it's a great time to date and have fun. I don't think it's a time to date too far out of your range, because there's not a whole lot intellectually in common with someone that much younger than you from that age difference. I'm talking like 18 to 30. To me, that seems predatory, because it almost seems like you're trying to come in and just be like, you know, a young boy or a young adult's everything, and kind of solar eclipse their mind to control them. So that's why I call that predatory. My opinion, it's my channel. I'm going to speak about it, and I had to put that out there. And there, like I said, is a lot of content out there about Miss Ali Lottie. But after seeing this very poignant documentary about Juice WRLD, I had to speak my opinion on that, because it didn't sit right with my soul. Yeah. So, also I'd just like to say, you know, post Juice WRLD no longer being here, I know there are a lot of videos about that too, and opinions and comments about his music posthumously. It's not hitting the same, it's hitting different. It's not exactly the material he would have selected. It's not exactly the art illustrations he would have selected. It's not the things that Juice WRLD would have set out to produce, to put out to his fans. And that's coming from his label head and the company that he's signed to and all of those things. And also Benny Blanco is in there somehow, making decisions. Know that he made about 5 songs with him in total, and we're talking about an artist that has probably 1,000,000 songs in a vault somewhere. So maybe not the most knowing producer of his music or the person that he is. Maybe someone who cares, for sure. I'll give you that for sure. But maybe not. Maybe he isn't the producer that knew him the best, or had anything to do with the artist that he became. I don't know. But one thing I'd like to say about his posthumous albums and music, and it not being his best work or what he would have chosen, a lot of our artists who are passing away very young, Pop Smoke, XX Tentas, so many, unfortunately, they're leaving us so early before they can really even make the music mark that they wanted to hit in this world. They left us suddenly and tragically. But I think it's one thing to say that a lot of these artists are not, they are living a very at-risk life, whether it be crime, addiction, all of it, the law, whatever it may be. They're not setting up for their abrupt and tragic end. Even though they're living a very at-risk life, they're not setting up for when they're gone. So there's not much of a plan in place for anyone on how to dictate what comes out, how is it going to come out, how's it going to lay out, how is it going to be produced, who's going to be the main person who does all this. None of these things, unfortunately, they're living very at risk, but they're not setting up for anything should they be gone. And that's something to really think about. It's a hard topic to discuss, but maybe something that artists need to do, especially the ones that are hot on their rise, really sit down and talk about the layouts and the rollouts and the premiering, and because most artists do have a vault of their own creativity and their own things that sometimes and may see the light of day and sometimes may not. But I think it's ultimately up to the artist on how that comes out and how that's brought about. And whether they're here or not, it's still their art. And we should respect, of course, that they're no longer here, but also that they're no longer here to call claims or make any plays for their art anymore. So just something to think about if you are an artist out there like myself, not even just music, not even every kind of art. Just think about it. If you are successful and you're hot and things are going horribly right, it may not be something you want to discuss, but something that's definitely worth it. Posthumously, how would my art and creativity live, go on, be debuted, premiered, whatever that may look like, but just something to kind of have a clue where to go for your family and your team. Maybe something to kind of look at Juice WRLD as an example of, and some of our others that we've unfortunately lost too young, and we may want to judge how their music sounds now that they're gone, or why their team selected what they did, or I don't think that's for us to judge. But yeah, I just wanted to leave really quick, and it hasn't been really quick, but I just wanted to leave my thoughts and sentiment on a really great documentary. I felt like it was very well put together, of a young man that really was a light in this world, had a lot to say, and it really resonated with so many of us on mental health, mental illness, on artistry, on independence, on hard work, on addiction. He really taught us a lot of things within his 2 decades of life. So Blessings to his family, blessings to his team, the real ones, not the, I mean, the real ones. And they know who they are on the real team of this artist, Juice WRLD. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your comments on what you think about Juice WRLD and how things kind of played out from his tragic demise. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. I post every single day, and I'd like to thank you again for tuning in to the A Dot Show. See you soon. Peace.